Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys often, and this time is really rare and really exotic. Glendronach single cask 1993 to 2021, 27-year-old Oloroso Sherry Puncheon, cask number 7274, with 54.2% ABV. 674 bottles out of that puncheon. Now, there's a tiny little store. Look at that color. Yes, it looks like Coca-Cola or very, very dark brewed tea. All right, so I'm going to pour a little bit. This is Whiskybase number 192739. I actually did a bottle share of this with a purchase price of $4.99, 499 euros. Now, the problem is it's almost worth every penny. I'll get to the price in a moment. Now, today, so this was actually about a year ago this hit the market. And I've been doing bottle shares, and so the level is slowly going down. I was like, I have to do a video sooner than later. And the price of the bottle now is no longer $4.99, it's $5.99. I can find it online in France for $6.99, and I can find it in Germany for $7.99. That's crazy, yeah? So 500 euros for a one bottle of 27-year-old whiskey. My rule of thumb is, hey, 10 euros per year, so that should be a 270 euro bottle. So just double that and go, okay, it's Glendronach. Now, 674 bottles. That means that we have a total of 471.8 liters of juice. This was in a Oloroso Sherry Puncheon. A puncheon is 500 liters. Now, no one in their right mind can tell me that this whiskey has actually, in 27 years, only lost 29 liters approximately of volume. Not going to happen. So what I think Glendronach has done, and I've heard that other people have done this as well, according to the SWA, Scotch Whisky Association rules, the last cask a whiskey was in is the cask that has to be named as a single cask. So the last cask it was in, 7274. This was an Oloroso Sherry Puncheon, and what they did probably at Glendronach was to take older whiskeys, 27 plus years of age, and vat them together in one single cask. So they might have taken the whiskey from 3 different puncheons, put it into that one puncheon, this one Oloroso Puncheon, and then bottled it, which is not wrong. Of course, we don't want a single batch, do we? We want, right now, in our favorite little economy, we want single cask. And so we can work around that single cask by actually putting everything in a single cask, emptying that single cask, and then putting on the label that we had 674 bottles of this one single cask product instead of 674 from a vatting of 3 different casks, or 4. All right, this is actually for the French. This says exclusively bottled for for France. Most of the shops I found it in, and even where I bought it, was Germany. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to compare it to the Glendronach 18. Jason, but why? Because this is my favorite. All right, so my favorite because this was exclusively matured in the finest Spanish Oloroso sherry casks. I like the 18. I like the 18 better than I do the 21, and I'll tell you why in a second. So I've been saving the last little drops of this for a couple weeks now for this video, and looky there, we're going to have a bottle kill. All right, so I could do It's Raining Men. Hallelujah. Now, if you don't know that reference, the Whiskey Tribe would help. But I'm also going to compare it to the 21-year-old. So, now the 21-year-old is not exclusively matured in Oloroso. It's matured in Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso. Now, Oloroso is yummy if it's done right, and Pedro Jimenez is sweet, raisiny. The two together can be fantastic. But to be very honest, even though this whiskey here, the 21-year-old, is older, I prefer the 18. because I think that the 21-year-old, in comparison to the 18, is too sweet. Now, I have a sweet tooth. There's no denying that. I like sweet things. But when I'm talking about my whiskey, I actually think the 18 is exactly balanced where it should be, and the 21-year-old is oversweet due to the Pedro Jimenez. Alone, I like the 21, yummy. But if I compare it to the 18 and then go back to the 21, it's like, ah. Now let's see what the 27 is going to do. Over here in Germany, at the moment, I'm paying 140 for this and about 190 for this. Now, I know 3-4 years ago, I had people buying these for 60 euros. I'm going to say something very, very, very bad. You, 4 years ago, were paying not enough money for this whiskey. This whiskey was too cheap. All right, Billy Walker was selling up to 24-year-old whiskey in his 18-year-old. Remember, the production had closed, and so they actually had to take older stock. The 18 means the youngest whiskey in there. You could put 40-year-old whiskey in here if you want to call it 18. No one will be complaining. What you can't do is put 16-year-old whiskey and call it 18. It's always got to be the youngest amount. And there was a lot of great whiskeys out there from that 18, Glendronach 18, and the prices were just way too low. And we as whiskey consumers, we as whiskey connoisseurs, had gotten used to this unusual situation of having a whiskey that was fantastic in taste at a very reasonable price. And when Brown-Forman took over, yeah, the prices went up. Now, there's this wonderful little book here. This is just a godsend. I just love this book. This is really, really nice. Ingvar Rondel, thank you very much for this. And he writes here, and I think this tells us a little bit about Glendronach. So 10 years ago, so we're talking about 2011, Glendronach sold about 200,000 bottles a year. Not very many, to be honest. 200,000 bottles. 10 years later, 2021, they were selling 1 million bottles. 5 times as much. 5 times. Now, the question is, 18 years ago, so we're looking at 2004, did they produce 5 times more whiskey than they did the 5 years before that? No. We did not in 2000 know that we're going to have a whiskey boom. And so what happens is prices go up. So there's more demand, the same amount of production means higher prices. That's just basic economics for us. And the same thing with the 2021. Now, interesting enough, Brown-Forman bought Glendronach and Benriach. And Benriach 2011 sold 200,000 cases, just like Glendronach. But they have, only doubled their production, doubled their sales up to 400,000 bottles, not cases, bottles a year. So there's a big difference now. Now, what happened was in 2021, Glendronach had been producing 5 days a week. They were at a 24/5 shift, and they were doing 1.3 million liters of alcohol a year. I don't know if it's 24 5 days a week or it was 2 shifts 5 days a week. Then starting 2021, they went to maximum capacity 24/7, and they made the 2 million possible. Now, what happened was in July of this year, Brown-Forman announced that they are going to invest 30 million pounds into the Glendronach distillery to double capacity up to 4 million liters of alcohol every year. So we went from 1.3 to 2, and now starting 2024, when the expansion, I forgot the word expansion, is finished, that they will actually then be able to produce 4 million. So they want to actually go from their 200,000 to 1 million cases to 2 million cases plus a year to cases, bottles. All right, so Glendronach is no longer the secret of the whiskey connoisseurs. The secret has gotten out, and the products of Glendronach are fabulous. Many of them. Now, I know some of you are complaining still, how can Brown-Forman get rid of the, put non-chilled filter, take rid of that on the 12-year-old and so on. Live with it. Come on, guys. All right, so yes, I know many people out there will no longer buy it. I will. All right, so just the thing there. This, 500 euros, 6, 7, 8 now. The question is this whiskey worth the money? Now, I'm going to break it down. I did a bottle share, which means I sold 5 CL and 10 CL little sample bottles to people that wanted it. And a 5 CL will cost that person about $38.50. So, $38.50 divided by 5, we're at almost 8 euros per 1 CL dram. Am I willing, me, WhiskyJason, to pay 8 euros for 1 CL of something to enjoy? The way this tastes, yes. Otherwise, no. Now, 10 CL was 75 euros, so that'd be for 1 CL, that's going to be 7.5 euros, so I can have in 10 different sittings 1 CL and just thoroughly enjoy myself and treat myself to something spectacular. Now, over here in Germany, we have so-called whiskey fairs, whiskey festivals, where you go from booth to booth, and you can actually hold up your glass and say, please give me 1 or 2 CLs of this. How often have I paid 5 to 8 CLs for 5 to 8 euros for 2 CLs of something that was not great at a whiskey fair? This is something I would pay for. Now, would I pay 500 euros for another bottle so I could actually enjoy this on 70 different occasions with 1 CL each, or share it with friends and so on? I'm way too stingy for that. I'm willing to do the math in my head and go, okay, 7 euros, I could buy a bottle of wine for 20 euros and have friends over, enjoy it. I just spent 7 euros for that wine enjoyment moment. I will do that for a couple times a year and splurge a little bit and go there. But what I'm not willing to do is to pay that much money for the whole bottle. Luckily, I didn't have to. I have people who I do bottle share with. I have the 5 CLs. I get to have it on a couple different occasions, 1 or 2 CLs each, and just enjoy myself. So, and I hope that we can sometimes also have this opportunity to go to a bar, splurge, spend a little bit more money on something, go to a friend's house, do a bottle share, maybe belong to a whiskey society in your local community, and you can actually have, I know people who pay like 20 or 30 or even $50 a month into the pot, and they buy bottles, and then you can go to tastings, and you can actually try some things you would never ever have yourself. And I think those are possibilities to experience things that we wouldn't actually treat ourselves to otherwise. Because, as I said, I have 500 euros here, I have 200 euros here, I have, let's say, 150, so 5, 7, it's 850 euros, $850 at the moment on the table for 3 bottles. That's not something most people should do or can do. All right, so cheers. I'm going to savor every little drop. Oh, by the way, this is an A whiskey, all right? So I think it was 3 years ago, my 1992 Glendronach was the whiskey of the year. This is probably going to be, sorry, the Scotch of the year. This is probably going to be my Scotch of the year as well. Yay! What I love is the balance. There's all that fruitiness, dried fruits. There's all that leather going on there. There's a little bit of the wood going on there. It's not overly sweet. There is a certain sweetness, and there's absolutely zero bitterness. I've had products that are old and they get woody, they get bitter. This is sublimely good. It's divine. This is, I mean, there's just dark chocolate. A little bit of furniture polish. This is just fantastic. Tobacco. little bit of a dark tea moment. Raisins, dark plums. Did I say leather? Yes, I did say leather. This is yummy. I like this a lot. Now, I'm giving this a solid A. It's not an A plus. It's not an A minus. It's a solid A. This, if I were to make a whiskey to enjoy for special occasions, I would take a Redbreast 21, or I would take a Glendronach 27 and just put them side by side, and the 27 I think would maybe win. It depends on the meat and the moment. The Redbreast 21 got a solid A as well. These are just exceptional, outstanding whiskeys that I thoroughly enjoy. Is the price tag fairly steep? Yes. All right, going over here to my 18-year-old bottle kill. I like. This is a B++. Now, as I said, it was just 4 years ago, people were picking these up for between 60 and 80 euros in Germany. For this experience of that pleasure of flavor, it's just way too cheap. We were getting bargains without even recognizing them. Would I be willing to go out and buy a new bottle for 150 euros for this flavor profile? Yes, I would. And so I personally think the demand is so high, for rightfully so. The price has been adjusted, 140, 150 euros. It's almost where it should be. All right, would I like to have it at 9.99, or would I like to have it 99 euros and 99 cents? Of course I would. But this is a very good whiskey for an okay price. Yeah, if you just started up on the market today, you did not remember those good old days where the stuff was underpriced, and you come in, you think, oh, that flavor profile, it's 10 euros per year, 180 euros, it's cheaper, this is fantastic, buy! And that's basically what I'm saying, buy! This is good stuff. Now, in comparison to this, and now this is our problem, I prefer the 18 to the 21. It has to do with the sweetness of the Pedro Jimenez. On the nose, as well on the palate, there's a sweet raisin moment going on here, which, what can I say, I don't need. Yeah, it's like somebody put a little bit too much of a honey, a little bit too much of a sugar in my tea. I can drink it, I can enjoy it, but when I go back to this, it's like, oh. Now, these are both at 46, and this was 48, wasn't it? Exactly. So this is 48, this is 46, this is 54.2. And you really realize the 54.2, the thickness, the viscosity, the flavor of this is just so much more intense. Those 27 years really do make a difference. 18, perfect. I thoroughly enjoy that. Show me a great sherried 18-year-old whiskey that's not 140 euros plus. All right, so try to buy Macallan 18 for that price. The 21, yes, the Parliament is okay, but if I had the money and the time and the bottles I have shelf space, I would go for this. Now, this, tiny little sip, is divine. I like dark chocolate, dark berries, tobacco, tea, raisins, plums, It's just concentrated goodness with that wood, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of cardamom. Absolutely, absolutely a fantastic whiskey. A whiskey. Value for money, I'm going to put it as C. C plus even. I don't think there's many whiskeys out there that can deliver that flavor profile for that money, unfortunately. Do I have the money to buy another one? Well, should I? No. I'm so happy I have about 2 CLs left of that bottle. The rest I have to fill up and send off to other people. But I'm going to save those and savor them. All right, so my question of the day is, what is your favorite Glendronach whiskey? Is it the 18 like I have, or is it a special single cask that you've had? This 27-year-old from 1993 is very, very nice. Excellent. I think from memory that the 1992 that I had was a tad bit, was it similar? Was it even better? They were both in that same league there. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for liking, subscribing, and telling others about this crazy guy over here in Germany tasting €500 whiskey, €200 whiskey, €150 whiskey, and thoroughly enjoying himself. All the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.